Well, hello and welcome. This is going to be an exciting one. I'm going to try and do a very big painting. I think as I was in the art store, I was feeling really, optimistic, and so I got this big 24 by 24 canvas, which to me, I was thinking about it, and I normally do 16 by 20, so I was like, it's not that much bigger, but it's kind of intense. So I'm hoping that I've got everything positioned pretty well. I had to move things around a little bit in order to get everything kind of in scene for this. So hopefully you can see me and hear me pretty well, and I don't block it too much, though because it's larger, I may end up kind of dodging in the way a little bit, but we'll see. See if this is a good idea or not. So for the painting itself, I think there should be something in this that everyone will enjoy. I've got kind of a late sunset type scene with mountains, and it's actually got a harbor and some boats in it. So there's all kinds of things going on in this. And I'm excited to paint it. I think it's going to be a fun image. It's going to lend itself to some nice impressionism, because there are so many boats in this image. I'm going to have to rely on some abstraction and kind of hopefully get a nice kind of rhythm and impressionist feel for it. I'll bring some focus to some of the ones in the front, and yeah, just some great colors. So I think it'll be fun. I'm gonna start by mixing up some liquid colors for my first layer, and I think that I'm gonna do I'm almost tempted to do 3, but I think I'm gonna stay in the cooler zone, and I will sort of work from my cools to my warms. So I'm gonna go with a sort of a dark purple that I'll probably do alizarin and phthalo for, and maybe go to a lighter blue actually, and keep it all pretty cool to start with. I'm noticing like a lot of these boats they're light, they're white, and they are sort of in shadow though, so they're bright, but they're not warm, whereas the mountains are getting hit by the sunlight, so they're actually much more golden and orange. I may play around with some bringing a couple warm highlights to the boats too, but for right now, the mountains actually are kind of a warm golden backdrop as the sun goes down. So yeah, we'll start cool and start working toward the warm. So get started with let's see. I'm gonna mix these up into two separate sections, just because I think that it's gonna end up being a lot of paint, and I'm not quite sure how much paint it will be. So I'll start by mixing up the dark one. I'm gonna do want all of this to stay wet for a good while, especially since it may take me a little bit longer to paint this one. So I'm gonna put a couple drops of lavender solvent and some linseed oil. I'm thinking about trying some other solvents, but linseed oil, I just keep coming back to it. It's simple, it's good, it works. There are things that will dry faster, but I feel like with oil painting, part of the beauty of it is being able to blend things and have them stay wet for a while, so I don't really feel the need to rush them. This is going to be nice sort of inky dark purple. I think this will work well. I've noticed that for my darks, I like working with transparent colors, and then for my lights, I tend to like working with opaque colors. So that tends to work well for me. I think maybe that's not so uncommon, but I'm thinking for these darks, I'm going to keep them on the thinner side. At least to start. That way I'll be able to build up the detail as I go. So let's start by putting some of that onto my canvas. I don't want to let this one intimidate me for too long. I feel like it's important not to let it see you sweat. It's easy once you, even just going up a size or whatever, you kind of start thinking too hard, too much. So, let's see, got this big peak here. Maybe even go up a little higher with them, because why not? I'll put more detail into these later, but right now I'm just wanting to get a nice layer down here. Okay. At least here, but maybe. I don't mind if I put a big mountain in this, I don't think. No, but I don't think anyone will complain. I have noticed as I've been going through just references and looking through photos, thinking about different scenes I want to paint, that I know Bob Ross definitely liked to make extra super big mountains. Which I kind of agree. I think that often mountains are, I don't know, they look small in pictures sometimes when they ought not look small, I think. So I'll put this one in nice and big. Starting to lay in some of these perspective lines as I've got. I'm really not trying to put too much detailing here. Mostly trying to get the right tones in the right places. I don't even need to use all of that just yet. Okay, so move this over a little bit. Yeah, I think for my second color, I'm gonna do kind of a lighter blue. That's gonna be the idea for that. Actually, a little bit of this blue on this won't be a problem. So I'm just gonna snag a little bit of this titanium white. And leave that brush by the side for now. And may end up needing a lot of this actually. I'm gonna just grab even more. I like having some values down on the canvas to start though, just because it's a little bit easier to work from some sort of middle tones than from straight white canvas, because you just kind of end up with, you always feel like everything needs to be brighter, and you can't get brighter than the white of the canvas, so you're gonna have, everything's gonna be kind of confused. So that's why putting down something else to work on top of first can just make all your colors look so much brighter. That's the thought. It's actually a pretty nice blue for this. I'm gonna have just a little of the Sevres blue too. Put that in there. And that doesn't need to be my lightest color. I'll get there later. But it's just gonna put me into a good spot in the meantime. Give it a good amount of linseed oil. Just because that white's very thick, so thinning it down a little more will help it out. Help it go on a little bit smoother. Since I don't want to build up a really thick layer, I wanna leave some room for the next paints to go on. Feel better putting something on this canvas already. As I was setting up, I really started getting nervous about it. Which is like, I normally am, I don't know, I try not to get in my head too much about this stuff. It's something I always have to stay a bit on guard about. So, let's see. Grab some of this. A bit of a messy brush, but I'm gonna start putting in some colors where I can see them. So, it's just giving me a chance to light some things out. I wonder if this canvas sounds different than the other one. It feels a little bit nicer to work with. It's got kind of a better grade than I normally use too, which is part of why I started to let it intimidate me. So, we'll see. Almost more important than worrying about getting anything exactly right. I'm really just like trying to fill in this canvas here. That's gonna let all my other paints flow a lot nicer. So once I get into using the knife on them, they'll just glide along. rubbing them out here. I like paintings with water and mountains are maybe my favorite. Fading that in a little bit there. There we go. And then I want to get the sky in here. Grab a little more thinner here. It's gonna get brighter up higher. Or actually brighter in color, but actually maybe darker. So this will maybe get another coat, but I'll just start it and see where it goes. Got some really nice clouds here too. Start thinking about their shapes, even if I don't fill them all in yet. I can actually mix in a little straight up thick, very top here. Get any bigger a canvas, I'll have to stand up while I paint. And then you'll hear my creaky floor. There we go. Maybe even a little bit more white. Just here. Even soften this a little bit here. I think I'll probably end up kind of coming back into these, but I definitely will. Kind of just trying to give them a little bit of gesture. Just find their little spots. These actually gorgeous little clouds that are kind of filtering down and winding around these peaks. Actually, something else I really liked about this image. So. Alright. So I'm just kind of, just like using these blending lines now to start creating some shapes. See all these masts popping through here. I'll probably line them up with a knife, but I think even just having some of these kind of vertical shapes in here. Might be interesting. I don't know. We'll see. May turn out to be a terrible idea, but probably not. Probably it'll be a good idea. Feeling confident. All right. All right. What about that cloud? What about that cloud? I'm thinking I'm gonna just snag a little yellow ochre and mix it in here. And now I just wanna spend a little time thinking about it. So I'm gonna just put it in. I've got kind of some smaller ones that might be a bit further away, but so pretty and golden. Really like that. It's kind of a good look. That might do. There we go. All right. It's time for some knife painting. Go ahead and wash this brush out. Alright, it is pretty nice having a cleaned off palette. A little more space. That is going to work out very well. Okay. It'll be interesting to see how sort of the scale of my knives works with this size canvas too. I definitely get used to certain things, but it's good to mix it up. The sort of general way that I want to work with this scene is I'm going to work largely from dark to light. I think that will, laying in all the shadows on this is going to help me kind of start putting the structure together. And hopefully that will help it all sort of take shape. So I think I might start. I'm going to use this little knife. It's a somewhat small one. It's not as small as my little round one though, which I think for what I'm doing here is going to be fine. I'm going to take some of this burnt umber here and I'm going to mix it into this background color that I was working with. I'm going to add a little bit more blue to that and a little bit of linseed oil too. Just because the raw umber is very, I don't add any linseed oil to it. It just like tends to look a little bit dull. So I like adding something else to it. I'll add a little phthalo too. That would be good. Nice dark color. So I'm just gonna pop right in here before I get distracted with anything else. And start making the top of this mountain ridge. Start give it some shape. So I'll already start to give it a little bit more texture. Another sort of lower area. It's almost all in shade is down here. It sort of starts to show the shapes of these peaks too, how steep and how round certain ones are. There's certain parts of this that there's almost no detail. It's so flat, so dark. So I'll start putting those in and go from there. Something I'm going to do is definitely try to move my knife around a little bit more and get nice smooth areas sometimes, especially like when I'm trying to do really small details. You kind of have to like work them, sketch them in a little bit at a time, but with this, actually some larger shapes, less of a choppy look, I think will be actually pretty nice. Have to decide if I want to paint the edges of the canvas too. I think that's normally I don't, because most of the canvases that I work on are pretty thin, so they're really kind of better to just frame them. But this is a nice chunky canvas. It's like 1.5 inches thick, so it might be one that could be hung without a frame. Let's see. I think there's going to be so many great shapes in this. Another idea that I had for this painting was that perhaps it will be the first one that I get professionally photographed, so I can offer some prints. I normally take my own photos, which are good enough for most things. Like they'll show you what it looks like, and they're good for the video and whatnot. But to actually get them printed, it's a little bit more of an involved process where they'll get the colors all set up exactly right so that it will be a good I guess accurate to the original. So I haven't gone through that process yet, but I think it's something I'm thinking about as this little art business endeavor continues. So I've got another dark that I just made up. It's got kind of similar to what I had before. It's got the phthalo blue, and raw umber, and then a little bit of alizarin crimson too, just because I saw this area, this shadow over here, reflection actually gets just a little warmer. It's almost, again, it's one of these little details that right now everything that I'm putting in looks so dark that it's like it's not important, or it doesn't feel important, but I think that it'll show later as I build things up a little bit more. If I put like a light over them, like if I added a little white to this versus a little white to that, you'll see the difference. So maybe keep an eye out for that. Let's see. I'm gonna start. Keep working this. There's this sort of dark line here where a lot of these boats are docked. And there's kind of like this little spaces between their hulls. So I'm just kind of trying to work those in. Yeah, it kind of just helps give the whole thing some structure. There's almost another, kind of got these perspective lines that are almost barely there because there's not any one thing that's kind of creating them, but there's some different sort of rows, so I'm just trying to sort of chop them in. That's how I'm thinking about it anyway. We shall see. All right. Kind of a pole here that it's nice. I suspect I'm gonna end up going over this a couple times, but let's see. It's got a nice reflection below it where the dock. Let's see. There probably. Yeah, I think it's important. Like if you're getting nervous about a painting, and you have to remind myself this sometimes that it's not the last painting I'm gonna do. Even if I'm using a big special canvas, not let myself get too freaked out about it. bringing in a little bit of this light since I had it on my palette. Just kind of making these reflections that I see pop out a little bit more. Not gonna worry about it too much. Just really just trying to get kind of the impression of it. I still want to mostly stick to the darks for now. Alright, so I've got that little section there. I've got another boat that's gonna be about here, I think. It's got its reflection probably is about here. It's probably, maybe it's up a little higher. Well, we'll see. I'm gonna mix up some more paint either way. So let's see. I need kind of just a gray. It's not quite as dark. Probably a little of all of this would be about the right tone for what I'm looking for here. Let's see. Just gonna go a little bit further. I might actually stop and take a little breather, but I'm gonna keep moving a bit. Let's see. Just kind of shading things in. Let's see. I think that back to my boots. So it's about here, and there we go. Okay, so that's here. Actually want to come across here. It's a little bit low. Some of this stuff with the perspective is just, it takes a little bit of figuring to get it really right. That looks pretty good though. That actually lines up better with my reflection from the other boat. That's pretty good. Let's see. Kind of just blending some shapes, and this is actually a nice way of kind of convincing me to loosen up a little bit. I didn't mean to grab that green, mix it into my phthalo, but what are you gonna do sometimes? That's pretty good actually. It's gonna work fine for right around here. Got kind of a green tone in these reflections. Actually, it's gonna work pretty nicely. I'm gonna put some lights in with this too, but right now it's getting close, getting a layout. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to represent a lot of these boats, but I'm hoping that it kind of comes together quickly. I've got, grab a little of this yellow ochre. It doesn't need to stay too clean, but let's start putting that in here too. This is going to be somewhat the reflection from the mountains. A little bit of linseed oil in with that as well. Sort of working that, I'm almost working the negative space, which is in this situation it's the water, but to kind of start to define everything else that's going on at this dock. Let's see. I'm kind of just going to colors too. I need some different grays and whites and things. I think this is not, I don't want this to be very white. I'm trying to go to sort of, and get a couple things in here that I see. I like having the paint kind of break up and make different shapes though. It's pretty nice. Okay. Okay. Let's go. Some of these shapes need a little more attention, but I need some different temperatures of grays. I need like a warm gray. Alizarin's probably a little too much for that, but I'll try it. It's actually pulling from here. strategize a little bit as I get going and kind of figure out what order I want to sort of work details in. But right now, I'm just really trying to establish the painting. So I don't know. It might be the wrong strategy, but I haven't. It's good to do something new because it makes you think about your process a little bit differently. I haven't even gotten back around to the mountains, but I'm just gonna try and get the scene get the composition worked out, I guess. See how I go from there. Okay. Let's see. Get a little bit more. Let's say a little bit of alizarin and a little viridian actually. Go for that sort of dark. Makes kind of a purple gray. Work in some of these different colors I'm seeing. Hopefully it won't all turn into lead. But I think I'm gonna pop in with a brush and do a little bit of styling and a little bit of blending. Somewhat soon, but not quite yet. A little bit of ultramarine in there. Let's make it a little bit more blue. Thinking about and starting to put a little bit more texture, a little bit of this sort of lowest earth color along here. Sometimes just looking for the different places in a painting where you can use the same color just makes the whole thing fit together a little bit better. It's I feel like I'm starting to get this sense of this dock here. This up right here is kind of getting a little distracting. I almost wish it wasn't there, though I liked its reflection here. I'm gonna keep it in the mix for now. I'm gonna try and make this sort of neutral gray. I want to finish in here. I'll just scrap that out actually for now. I've got a little bit of glare happening on the right hand side, which I'll see if I can fix that later. Okay. Let's try and put a little bit more variation information, but maybe I have to just realize I don't have to do everything at once. Let's see. Yeah, there's no rush. I'm gonna blend it out a little bit. And I find that doing this just helps everything kind of have a little bit of a depth that otherwise it might not have. Letting some different layers build up in their own time. And then over here, just soften all this stuff too. Very busy looking area, but sort of peaceful at the same time. It helps me keep filling in the canvas too, without getting anything too thick too immediately. It's okay. It's okay to take some time. I think that's these little boughs all kind of hanging over the front of the dock. It's kind of seems like the most important little detail in making this whole thing look kind of parked full in the way that it is. It's a challenging image, but it's the sort of thing that I feel like when I'm doing smaller paintings that you have to decide, you have to let go of more detail. Whereas I felt like I could probably eke a little more out with the bigger painting. So it's a good image to start this sort of process with, I think. I've got boats, I've got reflections, I've got mountains, I've got good lighting. I like the best lighting is sunrise, sunset, and then obviously that like golden hour time that's a little before and after that, yes. good feel. Yeah, I feel like this mix of knife and blending has been working for me lately. Alright, I think I might give it a little rest and come back and keep going. I think it'll be an interesting one. I think that my normal rest points are going to be a little bit thrown off on this, but I think that I will sort of find a way. If I can put it down. Those mellow out too. All right. Now I'm really taking a break. All right, and I'm back. That's been that long. It's like actually drying up pretty quickly, which is a little bit surprising, but you know, sometimes it's just how things go, I guess. I've got the paint on here fairly thin right now still, so I'm guessing that's probably why. Let's see. So I'm thinking that I'd like to do a little bit of work on the mountains in the sky for now. Possibly continue to just keep bringing details in and through the rest of it, but I think I'd like to have a little bit more of a setting, a little bit more defined there. So I'm going to start working into some of those warmer tones that I'm seeing in the background, since it seems that this is dry enough that I can start setting those in without worrying about them mixing. So I will start mixing those up. Stick with the knife. I've been actually I'll do a mix of a couple knives, but I'll start with this one that I'd been using already. So I'm going to grab some burnt sienna, a little bit of this cadmium red light. These are really nice bright colors that can work well together for this sort of sunlit area of the top of the mountains here. Grab a little bit of linseed oil. Keep adding that in as I go. I want a more orangey one, a more brown one that I can pop back and forth between, and maybe even a little bit more of a green. Just a little bit more of a duller brown. Yeah, I think those are gonna work out well. Start with this darker one. Just start bringing that in. As I get a little bit lower here, mix even a little bit more green in. Get a little of this cad yellow in the mix. Just sort of lightens it up a little bit. Just keep moving through here. Kind of placing the colors that I see. green tone is a little bit more predominant lower. Looks a little bit to this sort of orange too. Almost looks like a volcano, but don't worry, it's not. Some really amazing colors, though. And I've got a little bit more of a yellow on this peak further back here. I'm gonna have some snow on these as well, but that's not quite time for that yet. I love that this sort of second step of bringing in the lighter tones and the warmer tones. I feel like by sort of separating those into different sessions, I really avoid a lot of the trouble of having things get muddy. I'm making a little bit of a purple though, just for some of these little areas in between here. That's pretty good. Just continues around here a little bit too. There we go. That's looking kind of nice. It's like a little bit, yeah, just a little purple. I'm using the ultramarine and alizarin actually for this. Just mixing in a little bit of orange too. Just a couple of these spots where the sun's kind of just hitting these peaks, these little areas at the end of the day. Okay. All these different kind of earth tones swirling around together. Gives you a sense of all these different forms, different hills. More of this orange. Maybe even a little yellow ochre in this mix. This one's really lit up. More ultramarine, more alizarin. Oops. It's coming along like that. Okay. And the more I fill in of this, the more I start to see the little shifts and things. It's different sort of blue tones and purple tones in here. Okay. Yeah, that'll really pop once we add in the snow on these. Let's see. Maybe blend them out a little bit. Let's not worry about that right now. Let's see. I'm gonna go back into these clouds a bit too. I've got do kind of a brown. See, like these dark. It's kind of a dark highlight. I guess it's a shadow. That's maybe the appropriate description. Sort of makes this whole golden color work. A bit of purple. A little purple too. Just take this, like this little brush, fade these out just a little bit. Just don't want these to look too sharp. Okay. I think clouds are a lot about just having the right light and the right volume and the right shape. Some of these little ridge lines in. Again, a lot of it's just filling in canvas. Keep perfecting it a little at a time. Starting to build up nicely. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll end up working on this guy a little bit more too, but for now it's good. Really, it's all about playing with paint, right? Okay. This down for a little bit. Do you think I can see can see the benefit of focusing on one area for a little while, kind of treating it as a few different paintings in one. Let's see. Let's switch to my little round knife and do a little work on these clouds. I feel like just putting a little bit more light in the sky. I'm going to use some of this unbleached titanium for now. Just put it in front of my normal spot for white. I'm not going all the way to white right now. And a little bit warmer, I think, will work out well for this. Some of these cad red light and some of this titanium. Or actually, cadmium red light medium. I picked up the right one. I said the wrong thing. So, put a little bit more light onto these. Starts to kind of bring that form together. More on the left side. There's a little bit more brightness. Still a little more of this white, and maybe pick up a little purple, even dull it back a little bit grayer for some of these, a little bit further back. Having a few different tones in here is nice. Maybe some yellow ochre. Kind of started with yellow ochre for that, and I kind of built some other things out of it. I'm gonna work some of it back in now. Clouds are starting to look a little bit more voluminous, a little more puffy. You don't see really golden clouds very often. I think it's a good look. Maybe they should think about doing that more. Maybe even just a little of this cad red light over here too. having these little color progressions. I always think of them as, you know, moving from one side to the next. Try to have shapes that move that way too. Kind of making these little feathery bits that I think I'm going to work the sky back in around some of these. Kind of just giving it some little parts that can sort of fade off. It's kind of fun. Take a little bit. Let's see. Move it around. These clouds almost make me think of like fish for some reason. Like they have they look like they're swimming. Cool. Okay. So let's step back. I feel like I need to brush things out a little bit more. I think they're just looking a little too busy right now. Simplify a little bit. It's like fun, but it's also taking too much emphasis. Even here. I like taking this big brush over things because it just kind of lets you just adjust sort of the directions and the feel of it. I don't know, it feels like it just does a good job of like simplifying it in the right way. It still lets me keep a lot of the sort of like the essential details, I feel like. Yeah, let's try that for now. Let's see. I'm gonna switch knives. clouds a little bit more. Maybe I do. Yeah, I'm gonna try and stay in one place for a little bit. We'll see if I can keep consistency that way. Start there. Maybe even a little more. I feel like I go through it at a pretty good pace. This canvas is eating it up. So that's okay. It's to be expected. Little Sevres blue, a little titanium white proper. And see how that does. I go even a bit wider. Let's see. Make a little spot. I could go here. Really put some light in the sky. Keep working this in here, and may switch knives or use a brush in part. I'm just gonna try to kind of work it around. Because we started a little bit darker, got a little bit more room to really push this light around now. That's the theory anyway. Okay. a little bit more blue in here. I like this, the way that this is starting to have like a little bit more light, a little more softness to it now. The real challenge will be just making sure it doesn't look like 3 or 4 different paintings in one by the time I get done. Do you think that can be tricky? But as the paint builds up, it really starts to let you have a lot of different light happening, which I love. And a little more phthalo out. Guess I used a lot of it really early. Try it. Get these really bright, bold blues in here. Transition's a little harsh right there, but I can blend it out. There we go. Okay, I'll take a brush to that a little bit. Just kind of smooth it out a little bit, make these transitions a little nicer. Didn't really mean to bring that brown in there, but that's how it goes sometimes. I'm trying to be careful and not mix my blue and orange together here. It will make it, I don't know, I'm fine with a little bit golden, but I don't want the sky to look brown. I do want it to still be kind of distinct from these mountains. Kind of smoothing out a little bit there. Some of these brush marks are good. I'm trying to keep those ones. If I mess up the top of the mountains a little bit, it's okay right now. I can come back to them. Now I'm just trying to get this soft enough, I guess, is the way I'm thinking about it. Kind of let enough different things sort of blend here. I'll probably even put a little bit more light on these clouds. But I really like them. Some of these little sort of wisp shapes happen. Let's see. Thinking about clouds a lot. I think I had a really good cloud dream last night. I'm gonna have to try and paint that scene. Alright. That's looking pretty good. Good for now. All right. Okay. Let's switch back to my knife. Decide which knife though. I'm gonna use, there it is. Alrighty. I'll switch over to this one. I like this knife. It's a good knife for boats. And I think it's going to be time to work on the lower half of this painting a bit now. Just start working in a little bit of light. Just kind of working in a sort of light blue that's pretty similar to, almost as bright as the sky. It's probably doesn't need to be quite that bright though. Start bringing in some of these boats that are in the foreground. I think the light ends up really defining the whole painting. Like, I feel like you can do kind of a messy shadow painting if you do a sort of cleaner job with the lights. Sort of how it's feeling to me right now anyway. In a way, I think that's how I'm kind of thinking about structuring these lately, where I'm doing the darks and then doing kind of adjusting them, making them smooth out, but also putting a little bit more definition in. And then the lights are where it really kind of comes together. I get a little bit more of a gray-green blue for my reflection down here. I'm kind of just defining and redefining things I've already kind of set out in the first layer. Okay, over here, this one's slightly warmer, still basically a gray. I don't have the top clamped on this because I didn't want it to mess up the paint. Sometimes if I put the thing down, it will just cause a weird white spot that I don't want to have later. I can touch it up, but usually it's like it doesn't touch up perfectly, so I'd just rather not have that problem. But it does mean on this big one it's sliding around a little bit. Maybe something to fix later. Coming along to a little alizarin for this stripe. Might be just a little, maybe it's a little lighter. Just gonna go mix that in there. That's looking a little better. And a couple of boats out front anyway. I'm thinking once I have these two established that the rest of them will be able to come together a little bit easier. I'll just have a process for how I'm handling them. I think that's the theory. Yeah. Just gonna keep building it, I guess. feel like my pacing is a little off in terms of like I'm used to having a different rhythm, but I think it's really good to mix it up a little. I think it's starting to get the feel, so that's good. Slightly higher perspective on these than I have painted boats before, actually, so I can actually see down into them a little bit. I guess I did the rowboats. Those were from above. A lot of times I have kind of a side view. It's got a little bit of a different feel. I'm not used to the canvas moving around this much either. It's just a matter of it being bigger, so I can do that more, I guess. Alright, let's get one little boat in the background here. I'll start with its hull. Get a little more white here. kind of mixing this into whatever's here, just because I think I'm still kind of reserving white for later. I want to kind of be able to choose that a little bit more specifically. I feel like I'm still in like very much a block-in stage with this, which I would normally by this point feel like I'm just doing details. But I'm trying not to rush it. No sense in rushing anything. Still trying to keep an eye out for these little color shifts and things like that. One has a blue stripe. Okay. I've got kind of the same idea here. I've got a lot of bows kind of coming up to the dock here. Obviously get a little smaller. Can't see all that much of what's going on with these. They are just generally sitting a little bit more to the blue side over here. Still with a little bit of variation. Kind of putting in these shapes, in a way it feels reckless, but I feel like there's also like it's really hard to tell kind of what's back here. So the bolts almost are like becoming a texture. It's bizarre, but it's kind of what looks to be happening. So I'm gonna just go with it. One bow that's a little bit more distinct right here. Yeah, it's starting to happen. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit more of like a brown, kind of a green brown shadow going on for some of these back here. Kind of wanna. I don't mind that it sort of mirrors that the tone that's on the mountain, because I think actually that's a lot of what's happening here. Is this reflection color is still sort of peeking out. There's so many masts. It's a sea of boats. Just kind of overseeing it right now. Even some kind of whiter areas here, but I'm gonna come around and do all of kind of like the whitest reflections last, I think. So I'm gonna let that be. I'm gonna come over here and do a little bit more with this open water here. So again, I have the yellow ochre. I think that this can even come up a little bit brighter. So I'm gonna just grab some of that. Let's try putting it a little bit. Some of this, I think, if I had just gone with more paint earlier, I probably could have done it a little quicker. But I didn't really know what I was doing. So I went a little bit sparing on the first coat, but that's okay. Kind of works because you get to make it brighter. You can leave some areas a little bit more quiet if you need to. So that's okay. Go a little more purple in this sort of shadow area here. Maybe a little green too. Gonna try and mirror some of these colors that are in the mountain. Another sort of barge back here, just kind of hinting at it. It's coming along. Well, I think this might be a good place to take another little break. This one might this might be quite the undertaking. But I like how it's going so far. I think it might start to come together quickly. I mean, I can definitely start to see it. It's tempting. It's really tempting to just keep going, but I think I shouldn't. I think I should take my time. It's funny though, just sharpening up a little of this, a little of that, seeing it start to come together. Say. Yeah, I think this is a good little break point for it. All right, I'll be back in some more. Well, hello and welcome. Or I guess I'm back. Let's see. So it's been a couple days since I worked on this. It's mostly kind of dry-ish. It's still pretty wet actually, but nice enough that I can work with it without worrying too much about losing detail that I made the other day. So I think I'm gonna start by going back to the sky and the mountains and just doing a little bit more there. Just continuing to kind of bring up the light and put in some of the snow details. I'd like to have this kind of completely resolved before I get into doing more with the foreground. I think it'll make it all go a bit smoother. But I'm liking a lot of things that are going on with this so far. From being kind of intimidated with it when I started, I feel like it's it's really coming along, so we'll hopefully get there. All right, let's start out with this knife, and I think I've got sort of two different tones going on. I'm gonna trying to decide if I want to put the snow in or I want to put the kind of highlights in first. I may end up having to only do sort of one of them because the other one might be tempted to kind of mix in. I think I'm gonna try putting in the kind of lights on the mountains first and then possibly be able to add the snow on top too. But if that doesn't seem like it's gonna work, I'll just change plans. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. So let's start over on this side. In this part, this area, I've got the sort of most red. Over here, it gets a little bit more bright orange and yellow tones. Actually, it's a little bit more orangey, and then in the middle, I've got more yellow. And that kind of filters up into the clouds and does kind of a similar thing there. So I'll probably try to work those all in at the same time. Yeah, so let's see. For kind of a nice orange, I'm going to grab some of this CAD yellow, CAD red light. That is very fiery. It's probably a bit too fiery, but maybe we'll do a little burnt sienna in with that too, just to take it down a notch. I like that it's still staying very warm though. A little bit of linseed oil in with this too. Okay. So try bringing this in over here. Just a nice way of, can bring a little bit more texture in. I feel like the sun is here, kind of creating an extra peak that I'm seeing as well. I'm not trying to do the whole thing, just trying to put some different variation in there. Okay. As I get a little bit more, let's do the left side a little bit. Put some alizarin in with this. Just make it a little bit more red. I'm not covering the whole thing. I'm just kind of putting in these different ridges that are catching the light the most. Letting the color kind of break up as it moves down. Seeing this got a little bit more orange down here. Just bringing that in. I like having a real mountain to look at for this. Even though I'm not worried about copying it exactly. Kind of gives you a little bit more to think about with the structure. There we go. Okay. See a little bit more of that over here too. There we go. Okay. And toward the middle, a bit more yellow. More of this CAD yellow. super gently. It kind of lets it pick up these little brush marks, a little bit of the canvas texture. I feel like that really brings in all the light. It's a way that you can feel like the mountain has rocks and trees and all sorts of things going on. I'm not going to paint any of them. Let the paint work for you, let the texture work for you. Leave something for the imagination too. I think that's really important actually. Like, if you fill in all the detail, it's like a little bit less fun. Okay. Just a little more yellow even. I think it's really comes alive with the snow, but for now I can just enjoy this beautiful sun. Just putting in a little more shape. There we go. I'm gonna mix in a little bit of this titanium, unbleached titanium, and use that just to hit these clouds with a little extra light too. Could have done the cadmium yellow light instead of this cadmium medium with the white, but actually it's not. It's almost a little bit warmer, a little bit. Yeah, the tone just seemed more right this way. Try and give these clouds a little bit more of a round shape too. Maybe this one does get a little bit more of this light yellow. That's really starting to like it. Take a little bit of sort of a phthalo mix here. Actually lighten it up with some of this yellow. Maybe a little bit of Viridian. Maybe a bunch of this stuff. Kind of making a contrast color for working in here a little bit. Just some places where it's a little bit more shade. Be careful not to mix these in. I want to kind of define this edge a little bit here. And the last step we'll be putting in the snow. Makes it a little bit richer. I think just taking the time to keep kind of building these values in. It's sort of, I don't know, I think it gives a better result than trying to do it all at once. So. Just like if you paint a room in your house and you do it in one coat, it just won't look quite as good as if you do a few. It's just basically the same idea. Try and let that be for a little bit. Let's see. Coming along. I'm thinking about getting rid of this post here. It's part of part of the dock, and it's what allows the dock to kind of float up and down, but I don't really love how it's working in the composition. I feel like it's kind of throwing your eye off, but maybe I'll leave it here for a little bit and see how I feel about it in a little while. I do want to start giving a little bit more of a progression from the furthest away part of this dock to the closer areas, mixing up a sort of a gray-brown, a couple of different tones here. This one's more of a gray. It's more of a brown. I think it could go maybe even a little darker. Probably could just go a little bit more gray, but dark gray. Let's see. Kind of want like one to be able to work to the other. So I'm thinking that's kind of good. Cover this post up for now. I might bring it back in. I kind of just want to see this dock texture in place a little better first. I can see the benefit of working kind of one area at a time and not having so much of the painting started, but for me it's also easier to see where it's going a little bit. Go a little later. I think one of the trickier things about working at a different scale is just knowing kind of how much detail you can put in. I feel like I normally have a pretty good sense of knowing what I can keep and what I leave. This one I'm feeling like really confused, but just like I have to question it a little bit more. A little too much. Let's see that. Don't really want to make it drippy usually. That's not a feature I'm going for here, but it does make it spread a little bit easier over some of this textures I've already got in. I can clean this up a little bit. There we go. I'm liking a lot of the stuff with the boats that are more abstract and a little further away. I feel like I can probably do a little bit more with the ones that are close. And I want to do a lot with these reflections in the foreground. I just don't want to jump to them too early. Yeah, there's some good reflections in the foreground. There's also some nice light in the water. But I think that just feeling like all of these are in place first is a good thing. Just kind of redefining these lines that I scraped out earlier. Go. Maybe highlight them. Maybe I'll even highlight them. Let's try this. This isn't how they are, but I think it might work. Oh, that's kind of cool. See, they're kind of mirroring what's going on with the light on the mountains, even though they're not really doing that in the picture. But it looks really cool. I like that kind of thing. Like that, okay. That's kind of fun. I think I'm gonna build up this reflection area a little bit, just because I want to start seeing these values the way they should be. Not using any wax in this. I was tempted to, but I prefer to do wax on the boards just because it can get pretty thick, and I think the boards support it a little bit better. So I could probably get away with it on this. I'm gonna play it safe and just use some paint. There's this very light edge that's sort of weaving at the top edge of all of these reflections. I'm just trying to get that in first, and then I'm going to work on the rest of it, which will be a little bit more freeform. I won't have to be quite as careful with that, but beginning, this is still pretty forgiving, but keep mixing in some color, but also kind of staying to a base of white here, letting some of the color come through. Trying to keep the kind of shape of the waves as I see them now. Painting water is definitely one of my favorite things. Here it's even a little bit more varied. These little ripples, so kind of leaving some of these dark forms to sort of flip through here. A little more blue and green here. It's a little less dramatic, but still has some little flickers of light. There we go. Starting to light up pretty nicely. I've got some different forms here. Then I come back to this sort of separate area, and I've got some yellowy sort of highlights in the water. So I'll just kind of mix this into my yellow pool. I've got a little titanium white mixed up with that yellow highlight color that I had. I'm just going to put a little bit in to start. See how I feel about this. I may brush this in a little bit. I don't want this to stay too jagged. I'm going to probably layer a few colors into this area. Kind of using the white to create sort of the brightest areas that will be part of this section. And we've got this kind of ochre gray. I've got a little bit of orange mixed in here right now. I may put more of that back in, but I'm okay with losing it a bit right now. So just kind of mixing that on top. Okay. Soften that a little bit. Pull this knife off. Let's see. I'll just get a little bit more of that sort of water feel back here. I don't need this to be quite as intense as what's a little closer. It's got a good look to it the way it's layering in now. I want to do sort of a little bit of softness over here the same way. Not too much though. I don't want to lose that, but I do feel like it's just really, it's like intense right now. It's coming along. Gosh, there's so much in this image. There's like, it's really a process of deciding how to eliminate things than almost more than anything else. Let's see. Because I don't want to really go like hours and hours on this either. So it's just a matter of like now what's needed to make it nice. I think it's close. I'm gonna keep working on my boats a little bit, get them a little bit more defined. I'll probably I'm just gonna keep mostly working the way that I've been working with it though. If it gets a little bit messy, that might be okay too. I think probably part of this is like not letting myself get too worried about it. Down for a second, put a little bit of this red in that I've got as a sort of highlight color. Bring that into this reflection here. Let's see. There we go. That's kind of cool. Bring a little bit more light in back here, just sort of this area where there's a little space between these boats. I think just kind of fill it in, let it kind of shine. Again, this whole area. I really like the abstraction. When I was looking at it from further back, I really got the sense of all these boats without having really painted in any of them. I thought that was kind of exactly what I kind of hoped to do, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work. So that right now, that's kind of my favorite part of the whole painting. But I'm gonna try and bring a little more definition back on this side. these kind of like fiery highlights are what's making it for me right now. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll put a little more in over here too. I want this boat to have the right sort of colors on the windows and on the top. I think right now it's just not quite contrasting from the rest of it. Not quite standing out as much as it could. And I feel like if I get it right, this will be kind of an area that can help bring it all together. My proportions on these are they're a little weird, but I think they're okay. They're kind of charming in their wonkiness, I think, which is fun. I like things that are a little imperfect. Okay. There are ways to get perfect copies of pictures, and I don't know. I like it to reference the real thing, but okay. I like that stripe. That's probably what it was. There's the angle on that window is off by a lot. So, let's try to make a sort of a dark inside color for it now. That's about closer. Doing kind of the same thing with this front window here. That's a bit better. That's kind of the nice thing about working these a little at a time, is you can go around and see what you wanna improve on. A little gray back here. I'm gonna brighten this one up a bit. I've got kind of a couple different whites to work with now, which is nice. It's a little bit warmer. put some more white on too, but I'm gonna maybe let it set up one more time before I do that. It's just a little too messy right now. Nice highlight color though. I think it's working pretty well over here. It's kind of a funny one, but just like shift things around just a little. I feel like every layer that I do, I want to like soften it just a little bit before I stop, just so that my sort of last layer of highlights ends up being this sort of strongest, sharpest one. That's kind of why I keep doing this stuff, just a little. Keep it kind of highest marks the sharpest, so I think that ridge is really important to have a lot of variation, a lot of different colors kind of breaking up, doing different things. Using a few different brushes here just so I don't have to clean them in between as I'm doing this. Just kind of soften these clouds a little bit more blended. Alright, I think feeling like maybe one more session on this and it will be actually done. It's close, let's get in there. Just gonna figure out when to stop. It's a little better. All right. I'm so close to putting it down for a little bit. I'm gonna give us another little break, and hopefully when we're around, and I'm just about there with it, but it's feeling pretty good, I think. All right, back in a few. And I'm back again on this one. I think this will probably be the last session on this. I think that it's really close. I like a lot of what's going on. I think that I get closer and closer to being in danger of trying to do too much with it. The main things that I want to do are just try to kind of resolve a few things. So I've been waiting because I've been working in layers. I want to put the sunlight and the sunlight and the snow onto the mountains. This is pretty well dry, so it's still a little wet, but it's not too bad. So I think I should be able to do that fairly cleanly without having. I don't want the orange and the white to mix with each other, so that's kind of why I gave it a little extra time there. Yeah, so that's kind of the main thing. And then the other thing I'm doing is I think I want to try to resolve this foreground area a little bit. I think right now I've actually got these two boats a little too sharp and a little too bright. They're actually, I mean, they're white, but they're also in shadow, or they're kind of just, yeah, being lit. They're in shade, but they're kind of getting a little light reflected off the water, but not a ton. So I think I'd like to almost tone those back just a little bit. Yeah. And I want to bring just a little bit more definition, I think, to this second boat here. Maybe this one too. Just to kind of make it feel like their specific details are kind of dropping off as they get further away. I think right now it's a little too sharp from this one to this abstracted stuff here, and so I want kind of a more in-between one. This little in-between one I might adjust a little bit. The shape's a little funny on it, but it's actually kind of a funny little boat. So maybe I'll leave it that way, I'll see. Yeah, they're cute. They're a little goofy looking, but I think they'll do just fine. So yeah, I guess I'll just get into it. I'm gonna start by grabbing some titanium white. Shouldn't need all that much of this. I'm just putting in a little snow, but it is sort of the brightest. It's strange. It's even brighter than the white of the sky in a way. Just funny. And it might be how this photo's edited. It's not my photo either, so. But I like this super glowing sunny snow. I think that's gonna work out well. I can actually put this white in front of my other white pile, just to keep it as clean as possible. There it is. All right. Okay. And I've got a little bit of walnut oil on my palette, which is a little bit thinner than linseed oil. It takes a little bit longer to dry, so you don't want to use it too early on in a painting, but it can be nice. So I'm actually gonna use that just to thin this down a little bit. Compared to the linseed oil, it's just, yeah, it's a little bit thinner. In general, as you kind of build out a painting, you want your first layers to dry the quickest, and you want your later layers to dry the slowest. It just makes it unlikely to crack that way. There's a lot of sort of complicated ways to think about it, but basically if you keep that in mind, you'll be good. So grab a little bit of this cad yellow light. I don't want to go too yellow with this, but it's already taken over a bit. This one a little bit. Let's get that sort of golden light. start over on this side here. I'm looking forward to putting in this little slope for a while. Just using almost no pressure here. Pick up a little bit of this orange, so I'll be careful about that. Get this little edge here fairly sharp. This kind of indicates this little ridge line. It's like all this snow is kind of sitting in a little bowl. It's also getting lit up by the sun. Go. Okay. And I've got another section up here. Just kind of bring this through. Not quite as much here, but just a little path. Good. A little bit more in here. And then I'm going to have some shadowy snow too. Like you always have to have like some sunlit snow and some shadowy snow. Always makes it just work a bit better. A little bit right at the top there. Okay. I think that might be all of our bright sunny snow. Now make some more shadowy snow. So for that, I'm going to use a little bit of ultramarine with my white. even go a little darker than that. It seems very, very intense for snow to be this dark, but I think for this situation, it's what we need. Yeah, this painting has a lot going on in it. I think I kind of always knew it would, which was part of the fun of it. But as I'm trying to kind of wrap it up, I also sort of realize I have to make some decisions about what's my absolute favorite, most important parts. Let's see. You even go another step darker with some of this snow. Any more shadowy snow? Doesn't really look like it. I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, I really love these mountains. I think they're exciting. All right. Just a little bit of this color here and just pop it into these highlights on this side, just like a little bit sparingly, but I think it works. Yeah, maybe similarly over here too. So I guess before I get into reworking this boat, I'll start working on the extra definition that I was hoping to add into this one. So this one's fairly dark. It's like aluminum or something like that. It's kind of a warm dark. Actually, maybe has a little bit more variation than it needs to. It could be like a little bit flatter in color. I'll just start mixing up. This is titanium unbleached, and maybe actually mix a little bit of this blue into it. See how that starts to work. I'll bring this side out a little bit on it. It's good. A little bit more structure over here. That's bringing in the right look overall. Just kind of smoothing this out. I've got a little bit of a fade from a sort of a warmer warmer white to a cooler white or gray over here. I think that's fairly good. I'm gonna go slightly darker, a little bit more blue here. I think it's nice to kind of work with colors that are in different parts of the painting. All right. Some of these structures are hard to even really see what's going on, so just kind of, I see a horizontal, I see a vertical, I'm just kind of putting them in where they are. There's just too much, you know. I can't do like an architectural rendering of every one of these boats. I don't really want to. I think there's some kind of charm to doing it this way. It's feeling fairly good. I'm gonna put in a little bit of white and try and get a little bit of definition across this sort of bow here. It's pretty good. Kind of better. I think that might have been about what that one needed. Just a little bit more. Over here, it's just actually like kind of unclear what's going on. It's probably part of this trouble here. So I didn't really end the back of this one. To kind of gear in the back of this one. Just gonna bring some shapes in to show it. That works, I think. Alright. This one actually might be okay. Might not do too much with that. This one here. I don't know, it's something about it's just bugging me. There's just something about it that I don't understand. Oh, okay. It's kind of growing on me now. Yeah, I think I might just make it a little bit. Fix the shape of this window, because I might as well. And it's got a little canopy off the back. know for sure that I need. That's part of what was kind of confusing me about this area here, so maybe I'll put it in. So I'm gonna keep kind of in this ultramarine mood, so I'll keep playing with that a little bit. Maybe not. That's not quite right. Put a little phthalo over here. Yeah, that's more. That's more right. Little bumper on the side. It's orange, but it's again in the shade, so I don't want it to be fully bright. Adding in a couple more of these verticals. That's pretty good. I feel pretty good about that. I think that the last thing I want to do is maybe just a little bit more texturing on the water. I'm going to switch to a fun knife for that. All the knives are fun knives, but I think there's probably one that will be better than this one in this particular job. Actually, I think it might be just this one first. So I'm gonna do a little bit more with the darks over here. I think I lost a little bit of that. There's more than I intended to. Just gonna pop a little on this back corner. I won't need very much. That's probably more than I needed for sure. Okay. Let's see. Just mixing up some phthalo and viridian. And I even pull a little orange into that. I want it to be bright, but not too bright. Let's see. Just kind of grabbing a little bit more of this texture. Kind of going across and giving it a little bit more of this wavy look that I'm seeing. do kind of the same thing on this other one. I didn't need these reflections to be overly detailed. I've kind of been working back and forth on them. I think just a little bit more would be nice for them. There we go. Just gonna step back for a minute. See if there's anything else I want to do. You know, from further back, I do think that this side is still too white, so I'm gonna make it more of a, make it a little bit cooler blue. Let's try a little bit of this mess. I think I had this, it was darker originally, and then I changed it. I was trying to get it more, a little bit more sort of clean white looking, and I think I might have went a little too far. I don't think I have to do the whole thing. I think just this side, really. I want it to feel like it's a little bit more backlit. I want to bring just the main focus on the mountains, I think, and then these guys are kind of providing a setting and a scene, but they're not the main focal point anymore. Tap, tap, tap. think that's better. I'm really close. I think I can keep feeling it. I'm very close. So I'm gonna just do a little bit more of a shadow and reflection here as well for this dog. Just give it a little bit more space. It's looking a little too bright right there. Wasn't giving me the illusion I was going for. Okay. I eliminated that post, so I'm not going to keep its reflection in either. Fairly good. Right. I think I like it. I'm gonna do just one other little bumper buoy. For this other boat. That little pop of orange in the foreground is kind of nice. Just use that same color to boost up this stripe here on the side of this one. Okay, I don't wanna overly light it, but I like these little things that just kind of pull it all together. Okay. I think that might be that. Alright, well, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night, or whatever you're off to next.